like I said, there's mistakes. So yeah, my treatment of the rationals, the subscripts, these things have to be handled completely differently, right? Because if you're taking, say, k is 2/3, and you remove the fractional part of k, you get back 0. So you end up with 0 on 0. Or you can, right? So you have to correct for that. I don't really care. This just makes this way more convoluted. You could leave this out of the numerator and delete the 0, but it still ends up being this extremely convoluted thing. It's ridiculous. Rationals are simply not a naturally occurring category of values that you get. You get things that approach them, that get very close to them, like orbital resonances and things like that, but they're never actually these, right? This is never actually the kind of value that you get. In the real world, you get these. Like, there's a reason this is k, right? This is a measured value. This is a measured value. Okay. Mostly this form I'm using in order to later on over here, like, cast it to a vector, because this is a measured magnitude, k, just like 1 is. And what we're doing here is we're establishing the relationship between the measurement k and the measurement 1, the unit. Right? You don't need to do that with the infinitesimal, because the infinitesimal is completely it's unrelatable to 1. It's incommensurable. You cannot get the infinitesimal and 1 to work together. But k is a measured value which is being input into our system. Unlike what Peano axioms are attempting to do, where you can derive all values of k from 1, which is impossible, even using infinite series. It's impossible. It just is. And then you end up with this contradiction of terms, right? Well, you get some people, or well, you even get the same people saying both of these. A limit isn't the value; it's the limit. It's a different thing. And then they'll turn around in a different situation and say, oh, it's actually the same thing. Like, because of Dedekind cuts. Dedekind cuts, you're literally saying that the value right next to 0 is 0. No, it isn't. But then over here, on the other hand, if I give you a certain context for this situation, you'll say, oh, that's just the limit of 0. Yeah, so you can't derive k, right? This is a fundamental change that I have made to my approach to mathematics from the things that I am criticizing. I don't know, I'm gonna check it. I don't know if what I'm doing actually is subject to incompleteness, because it is not in agreement with Peano's axioms, and Gödel's incompleteness theorems are specifically in reference to systems that incorporate Peano's axioms or something commensurable with Peano's axioms. And what I have here is not commensurable with Peano's axioms. So, like old school Greek geometry, this might not be subject to incompleteness. I don't know. But yeah, so here's a mistake. I found it on my own. I don't think anybody else has even seen my videos. Nobody ever comments on my videos, so it's not that somebody pointed this out to me. I noticed this on my own, and here's a ridiculous way you can deal with it. If you really think that the rationals are so important, here you go. Here you go. This is a non-contradictory, non-self-contradictory thing, a way of finding it. Oh yeah, and since k is measured, that's how it's brought in the first place. It can be less than your unit magnitude. So that's why we're adding the unit magnitude to it. So when we take fractional values off of it, the smallest value we can get for k or m is another one of these, right? That's the whole point of this. The smallest it can be is now 1, right? So we're going to have at least one copy of 1 here. So we're not going to be at 0. Right. Okay, so there's probably other mistakes in future. I'm probably just going to like reformulate these. These are not the most elegant way of doing this. Probably for any of these. These can probably be cleaned up slightly. But this is pretty clean. I don't know. This is a mess, but it's also rationals. The conventional definition of rationals is a fucking mess too. So it's not like there's anything here that's unexpected. Right? Because conventionally you have to avoid denominators of 0. Because mathematics, as it is established currently, just has no idea how to handle division by 0. Even though it shows up all of the time. Like, I think it's Verisaro algebra, where the only interesting solutions derive from a situation that involves a division by 0. Yeah, good times. Good times. Anyway, yeah, so correction to that, no big deal. I don't actually give a shit. Because rationals aren't real value. They don't, like, you're never going to actually encounter them anyway. You're going to be off of them by at least infinitesimals. Probably measurables. In reality. So, yeah.